We've just finished recapping some of the negative consequences of the modernization of agriculture. And there is another topic related to these consequences that we need to pull out and look at in a bit more detail, and that is persistent organic pollutants. Persistent organic pollutants are not a problem that is exclusively caused by agriculture by any means, but agriculture has been a huge contributor, and you'll see why that's the case as we get into it. Persistent organic pollutants, or POPs, are organic chemicals that are produced and released in the environment by human activity and pose risks to the health of ecosystems and people. There are many different types of pollutants out there, but what makes POPs unique is that they are, first of all, persistent. These are chemicals that last a long time in the environment without breaking down. It can take decades for them to be naturally broken down. They are also bioaccumulative. This means that they accumulate or build up to higher and higher levels in bodily tissues over time and up the food chain. And lastly, POPs are toxic. They are known to affect the health of both humans and animals and a wide range of systems, the nervous system to the reproductive system, the immune system, and serve as carcinogens or cancer causing agents. So, what does this have to do with agriculture? Well, most POPs are pesticides, specifically insecticides, that were formerly used widely in agriculture. Here are 12 of the most toxic and problematic POPs, as identified by a United Nations Convention on POPs. And as you can see, over half of them are insecticides. Today, here in the United States, these POPs are all banned. But of course, the thing we all know about POPs is that they persist. So even though they haven't been used for many years, they are still around in soil and water supplies. And from those soil and water reservoirs where these POPs persist, they can bioaccumulate and biomagnify, which means that primary consumer's ecosystem will get direct exposure to that POP, like the mayflies in this illustration here. Then hundreds of those mayflies will be eaten by an organism up at the food chain, like this bluegill. So the bluegill's exposure is magnified compared to the mayfly. Then, at the next step of the food chain, the bass eats a large amount of bluegill, so its exposure level is even greater. And then whatever is at the top of the food chain, often humans, get the highest, most magnified level of exposure to the pollutants that have become more concentrated at each step of the food chain. So yes, these POPs are banned from use now, but they are still lingering in soil and water from when they had their heyday as insecticides during the height of the Green Revolution. And we still get passive exposure to them through bioaccumulation. Furthermore, although these POPs are banned in the US, there are still countries in the world, mostly developing countries, where they are not banned and are still in use. For example, DDT, one of the most notorious POPs, is still used in sub Saharan Africa for mosquito control because malaria, which is carried by mosquitoes, is such a significant public health crisis there. DDT used in a strategy called indoor residual spraying, where indoor walls and ceilings are sprayed with DDT to kill any mosquitoes that might land on those surfaces inside the home. So POPs are not completely gone from the world, and there are many other POPs that continue to be used in the US. Bisphenol A, or BPA, is one of them, which you may have heard of. It's a plasticizing agent that is used in many plastic products to make them more pliable. The FDA stance used to be that it was safe, but then it became apparent that it was developmentally harmful to children, so it was banned from use in baby bottles and sippy cups in 2012, but it's otherwise still permitted to be used in plastic products. Consequently, 90% of Americans walk around with BPA in their body due to their exposure to it. Another example is phthalates. These are also a plasticizing agent that cause reproductive dysfunction and developmental harm. In 2017, a law restricted but did not ban the concentration of phthalates that can be included in children's toys, but their use is otherwise still permitted. And as a result, blood test surveillance shows that 99% of Americans have phthalates in their bodies. So, bottom line is that the US based agriculture may have come a long way at eliminating the use of POPs, but they are still all around us in the form of environmental pollutants residual from the time when they were allowed, and in the form of POPs found in products that have not been banned.